Greetings, everyone. I hope that you are doing well. Today is going to be a very interesting conversation, one that I find that most jurisdictions don't like to talk about. I find that a lot of us like to run for cover when it comes to conversations and topics as the one we're going to have today. So I welcome everybody in this conversation as we begin to have a sincere dialogue in regards to this particular murder and those that happened way before this one that really began to galvanize and push this country to look more like the 1920s than the 2020s. It looks more like the 60s and the 50s than it does anything else right now in this lifetime. I would tell you, growing up in Mississippi in the late 60s and 70s, this is what it really looks like. For those of you who thought that everything was okay, that it was all right, that, whew, you were asleep. And I'm hoping that this wakes you up in some type of way, fashion, some type of manner, and begins to shake you a little bit. I want you to wake up and see what's really before you. A long time, a lot of us has been saying, hey, brothers of the craft, hey, sisters of the order, you need to take your rightful place. But what has been happening is a lot of us have been told to be quiet. This is not something that Masons talk about. Masons don't talk about politics and religion. Yes, we do. We do talk about politics and religion. And I'm going to break that down to you today to show you the hypocrisy that's right before our face. Because our younger brothers and even some of our older brothers act as if they're fought for something that you really never achieved. And I'm going to break this down to you. We're going to have a conversation about this today because what we're seeing here is really just the beginning. I mean, we've seen people get murdered. Yeah, we've seen it. Shot in the back, running away. We've seen it. But people are getting tired. And as I said the other day, if you would just pick up your VSL and read it for yourself, that's not just for then, that is for now. Whatever your faith may be, whether you are Islam or whether you are Christian or whether you are Catholic or whether you are Judaism, whatever you may practice as your faith, whether you are a leader in your community, whether you are a politician, whatever that may be to you, there comes a time when you have to just absolutely step up and step out. And now we face that time. I remember reading about a man that said, when you see a fight, a good fight, get in the fight. When you see a good, get in the fight. Don't sit down and wait till the fight is over and then say, look at what we done. You had nothing to do with it. You said, I live by, and let those who fought the fight get killed, brutalized, talked about, stomped on, kicked. You did that. And then after the war was over, you're going to reap the benefits and say, look at what we did? Come on, people. Come on now. I just need for you to walk with me just a little while. I just need for you to wake up just for a little while. And I believe once you wake up, it's going to be hard for you to go back to sleep. I got some receipts for you today. Speaking. And there's a group that comes on. There's a YouTube channel called The Winding Stairs. That's the name of the YouTube channel. It's called The Winding Stairs. It's a very nice YouTube channel, and they're very polite. They speak politically correct, and for the most part, they're not concerned about what's happening to the Black Masons in the Black community. They don't even want to talk about it. Okay? They don't. They don't want to have a conversation about it. And I got receipts on that. Because there was a gentleman, he was a Prince Hall brother. He posted something in a mainstream group. He posted something. They kicked him out the group, took his post down. But you're supposed to be recognized. And you may say, well, Hawkins, why are you hopping on that? I'm hopping on that because people are going to show you who they are. It's whether you believe them or not. Some people can show you better than they can tell you. But you keep running back like a battered wife. Please take me back. Please take me back. I got some receipts for you. And I'm going to share them with you. Because I find it ironic that this same person who posted something in that group, the Wine and Stairs, or the mainstream Freemason group for which he's a part of, and he's a PHA Mason. He's a brother. I call him brother. And they treated him less than. Took his post down and kicked him out the group. Now, if I'm wrong in regards to what I'm about to share with you, then somebody need to call and tell me, no, that's not how it went. That's not how it happened. Because what I got says something different. So, wherever you at, whatever state you're in, first of all, I want you to be careful. I do. I really, man, my prayers go out to the brothers and sisters. Please be careful. If you are out protesting, whatever you, please be careful. And I'm going to say this. Those protesters are coming from the outside into your community to agitate, and they're causing havoc. Okay? Then they leave. The people in the community who are protesting peacefully, they're not the ones that's burning down their buildings in their community. They're not. It's been proven. Just the other day, I watched a video where they caught a police officer vandalizing a building, and they followed him. No, he was not in his uniform. But when they finally got a picture of his face, found out he was a police officer. Come on now. This ain't the first rodeo for a lot of us. This is what's been happening a lot. This is just a Kickstarter. Okay? It's like a Kickstarter. Oh, they're going to protest. Oh, well, let us go out and help them by agitating a group in a negative way. Not agitating in a positive way, but in a negative way. So these are the things that we have to be aware of. These are the things that are before us. So as we begin to venture off today and watch what is happening before our very eyes, everybody is staying safe. I just had to come on real early. I'm on a lot earlier than I've been on in a very long time. Because even here in San Diego, they're protesting, they're closing, they're shutting down the freeways, they're walking on the freeways. You know, people are tired. And for those who are in political leadership and you want to call in the National Guards and do all of these things, but you're not listening to the cries of the people. You're not. You may listen to the cries of the corporation, but you're not listening to the cries of the people. Now check this out. So they sent you a check of $1,200, an extra $500 if you got kids, and told you it's going to be okay. Then they put you on lockdown for 3 weeks, almost 2 months going on. Then we see a video of a man being murdered right before our eyes. It's not the first one, but this one is just a little graphic. This one is just, not that the other ones wasn't graphic, but it was just something about this one. This one was the one that cracked the camel's back. I ain't said broke it, cracked it. So you locked up for 2 months. This COVID thing. COVID has been forgotten about. Ain't nobody giving a damn about COVID now. But they still wearing masks. Now you can't see the real looters. Okay? Let's have an understanding. You can't see the real looters because looters, all the looters out there don't look like me. They don't look like me. Okay? I'm telling you. Because we got pictures of looters. And brother, let me tell you, they're coming out with beer, wine, and everything else. And they don't look like me. And come to find out in Minneapolis, they said that most of the looters that they arrested wasn't even from Minneapolis. Wasn't even from there. They weren't from Minnesota. I'm just saying, they wasn't from the area that they was looting in. These people came out. They drove an hour. They drove 30 minutes out in to help loot and riot and then leave. This is what you have to deal with. This is what you have. Those who are leading these protesters, those who are leaders of the protests, you have to be aware that it's being infiltrated, that there are people from the outside that comes in to agitate, to cause harm and hurt. That's what they do. You have to be careful, leaders, when you form these protests. You might want to do yourself a favor and call in the fruit of Islam to help control the crowd. You might want to do that. Because what's being shown, it shows a lot of us routing and doing all sorts of things, but that's not the cause. The agitators are the cause. We know from Ferguson, they caught 12 police officers. They caught them red-handedly agitating the crowd, throwing bricks and throwing rocks. They caught them. So this is not new to us, that there are people that are protesting that are not with the real protest. We have to be careful. We have to understand the game that is being played. There's truly a game being played. It's just like we're pawns in this game. We have to understand that. We really, really do. And we're going to talk about some things today. And we're going to bring it full circle, because you must understand. Prince Hall the man was an activist in his community. John G. Jones the man was an activist in his community. There are many black leaders who were activists in their community. Thurgood Marshall was an activist in his community. So let's just not sit down and say, well, look at our Prince Hall Masons, and look at our AF and AM Masons, and look at our modern Freemasons, the international Masons. Yeah, that sounds good, but they were active. Okay? They didn't sit on their ass and just watch things happen. They was actively participating in the human rights of our people. What are we doing? Have anybody heard from the NAACP? Have anybody heard them put out a national statement? That is probably one of the oldest civil rights groups around. But they quiet as far as I know of. Have anybody heard them put out a letter denouncing the violence? Have anybody heard them take the lead on this? So this is where we're at. We're gonna have to do something. We're gonna have to do something a little different, because our groups are being infiltrated, agitated. This is nothing new. They've done it all the time. They put Slick against the Southern Christian Fellowship. They put the Nations against Malcolm, and they put MLK against the nation. So this is nothing new. We need to understand this. We need to understand that we who are Freemasons and Eastern Stars need to take an active role. Run for office. I said this the other day. I said run for political office. But don't forget who you are when you get there. I'm going to tell you this. And I mentioned this the other day. 1983, 1984. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The group called Move. They was doing their own thing, and people didn't like the fact that they was really politically active. They had their own thing going. They didn't like it, so they dropped the bomb on a block. Okay, on a black community, they dropped the bomb on a black community in Pennsylvania where the MOVE group was at. And then they didn't allow those kids and those adults to run out for safety. They shot them as they was running out. The governor or mayor at the time was a black man, but he was a PHA Mason. He took full responsibility of them dropping a bomb on those innocent people. Them people wasn't shooting out, killing nobody. They just didn't like the way the system was being, the way they was being treated by the system. So I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, what you gonna do when they come for you? Because they coming. See, it ain't gonna be if you Prince Hall, if you Modern Free, or if you International. It ain't gonna be none of that when they put the baton on your ass. It ain't gonna be none of that. It ain't gonna be none of I'm regular or irregular. It ain't gonna be none of that. But where you gonna stand in all of this? Last night, I met with my grandmaster and a few other fraternal brothers, and we discussed this issue. Where do we stand in the midst of this trouble, these troubling times? How we're going to become more active, more seen in the community, come out of our lodge buildings and stop talking about this and that, and really become an active participant in the process of seeing the people receive justice as they are due. So we talked about this. We have come to the conclusion that we will not sit idly by, not this jurisdiction. We will use this platform to speak our mind. And for those who feel the need that they need to protest, be safe in doing that. So this is where we're at. And people can say all the time about how political we're not supposed to be, but let me share this with you. The Black Mason across the board, there's a word I'm looking for, and I want to make sure I say this correctly. Accessibility. You have no accessibility to do nothing. What are you talking about, Hawkins? Brother Hawkins? Tony Muhammad? What do you mean by that? Well, let me share this with you. If you really wanted to get something done in your community, who in your lodge can push that issue? Who in your chapter can push that issue? If you really want to get something done, is there a congressman in your chapter? A senator in your lodge? Senator in your chapter? A senator in your lodge or chapter? Who in your lodge that you know of right now where you can pick up the phone and make the call and say, look, bruh, you're the city councilman. I need you out front. I need you talking to the people. Who in your lodge? Just look at the political clout. What fraternity, what Freemason group has the most political clout? Holler back at me.
Hey, Papa, I need another chair. Like the one that's at the dining table.
Oh, right here. Go in my room and you can get it. But who has that political clout? That when they can pick up the phone and call and make something happen. What Black Lodge has that clout? And if you have it, why you haven't used it? And I can only speak in regards to my jurisdiction. I can only speak in regards to what we're doing here in California, in San Diego and LA. I can only speak to that. Do me a favor. Close that door up a little bit more.
Huh?
Close my door up a little bit more, please. I can only speak to what we're doing here. But I know there are multiple different jurisdictions. Police officers, they have city councilmen, they have various people in different positions around in their community where they be able to make the damn call. Stop being afraid and talking about masonry is not supposed to be involved. We are involved. Some of us are police officers, congressmen, senators, lawyers, doctors, nurses. We are involved. We need to take ourselves out of this notion that we can't do anything and do something. So if you want to call in tonight, certainly welcome to do so. The number is 619-286-0642. And we can have this conversation with anyone. This is open to non-Masons and Eastern Stars to Masons and Eastern Stars. If you feel that you need to call in, that you want to call in, you can do that. But before I go ahead, I said I had something I wanted to share with you. And this is from something that the brother posted in the Winding Stairs. You know that group. They have their own internet. You can go check them out. You can go check them out. They have their own YouTube channel called the Winding Stairs, and you know that they don't make waves. They're pretty well. They're nothing like this. All right. They're not as involved, okay? So let me share with you what was posted in their group, and then they snatched it down. They kicked the brother out the group. The brother out the group was a Prince Hall brother. I guess he felt that he was equal with them because they let him in the group. But they showed him, hey, bro, we don't get out. I'm just saying, now this is what he posted. All right, so let me see. The issue plaguing the country go far beyond politics. This is a system. This is a systematic problem that needs to be rooted out. PHA Masons has an obligation to speak out against these injustices that are so prevalent. There has been racial inequality since the founding of the country. Hence, Prince Hall Masons, we must be a voice that speak on the disadvantages that are present. A person of color should not be afraid to walk the streets alone. Have to feel they have a place, their hands above their heads, and automatically be thought of as a criminal, or fight for the same rights and freedom as others, simply because of the color of their skin. This is the same. It's disgusting. It disgusts me to see white people ask a person of color, what are you doing here? Where are you going? Etc. It is none of your damn business. However, if we are an organization that do not lend a voice to these problems, social distances will continue. Know that I love all of my brothers and sisters and wish peace to each of you. This was posted by a Prince Hall brother in a group. Once he posted that, it was a wrap. They snatched it down. We ain't having that. And to me, it just shows you who they are. You've seen the murders. You've seen the murderers, but you yet remain silent. How dare you? I dare any of us to remain silent when we see injustice. Let me tell you why. When you read your Masonic rituals, and then when you go into the previous degrees of the York Rite, the Scottish Rite, when you go into these degrees, right, it's supposed to teach you something. It really does. These degrees are supposed to teach you something. And if you go into these degrees and they're not teaching you anything, something ain't right. So what we're going to do, we're going to see what some of these degrees teach us. You know, what do these Masonic degrees teach us? Let's take a look at the 5th degree. It says the 5th degree teaches us the love of God for human race in the magnitude of divine attribute. That is what the 5th degree on the Scottish Rite side of Freemasonry teaches. That's what it teaches. Now, before that, you have the fourth degree. Let's look at what the fourth degree is supposed to teach you in Freemasonry. Since all of you have these degrees and you feel a certain damn way, let's look at this. It says that the fourth degree teaches that the consequences in the existence of one God and the relations existing between man and his heavenly Father. That's what it teaches you, the relationship between you and God. Out of all of the degree work, in that particular degree, this is what it teaches you, the relationship between you and God. Okay? Then and like I said, the fifth degree teaches us the magnitude of divine attributes. And you mean to tell me you're supposed to be this knowledgeable, but you sit on your ass and you say nothing, and you do nothing, you speak out about nothing? But we supposed to be enlightened people. We supposed to be bringing people from darkness to light. Come on, check this out. So let me go a little bit further, all right? Let's go a little bit further, because I know some of you are in the appending bodies of the Scottish Rite and York Rite Masonry. I know that some of you have your 32nd, your 31st, 18th degree, 17th, 14th, all these degrees you got, and what they're supposed to be teaching you and educating you, and you just sit on them. That's all you do. You don't activate them. Let's take a look at it. Let's take a look. I'm jumping around. Let's just take a look at the eighth degree. The eighth degree on the Scottish Rite side teaches the necessity of order, without which society cannot exist. That's what the damn degree teaches. But what do you do with that? How do you activate that? I'm going to share one more with you. Hold on. Check this out. Let's go to the 13th degree. The 13th degree, let's check this out. Teaches us the utility of studying as the only means of drawing near to our Heavenly Father and practicing true religion, the object of which is to attain the knowledge of perfection and unbound merciful, understanding God, and thereby becoming more and more perfect by imitating his kindness in his relationship with our brothers. That's what the 13th degree teaches you in a nutshell. So I've broken down and I've shared to you what some of these degrees teaches. But if you look at how we act, if you look at how we treat each other, if you look at where we're at right now, how some Masons remain silent and do nothing, discuss nothing, say nothing, because they feel privileged in such a way, it should tell you what they think about you. Just take a look at your former history. Please just go look at those who founded the various organizations. Just go take a look. Look how actively they were. And you keep telling me, and you keep putting on, Masons are not supposed to talk about politics. All of them was involved with politics. Gerald Ford, Vice President of the United States before he became President of the United States, was a 33rd degree Mason. Politics. If you don't think Masonry is involved with politics, you are sadly mistaken, people. They tell you that. They tell you that Masons shouldn't be involved with politics while they got their hands knee deep in that shit. That's what they tell you. That's true. That's what they tell you, and then you follow right along. No, we're not following right along. I can only speak in regards to what we're doing in this jurisdiction, those who are part of this jurisdiction, whether you be in New Orleans, or if you be in Texas, if you're in LA, if you are in Virginia, if you're in these places and you know what I'm talking about. Those who are connected to this jurisdiction, you know how we do. Plain and simple. We're not sitting idly by just saying it's you know, everything is not good. If I see one of my brothers and sisters of the craft, and even if they're not of the craft, and you're suffering, I'm suffering. You're hurting, I'm hurting. Most of our membership comes from our community. I don't care what jurisdiction you're in, our membership comes from our community. Yes, there are brothers who are part of mainstream, and I'm okay with that. I have the most up respect for you. Okay? I do. Because that's what you chose. And if you chose that, I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that. That's your decision. I'm talking to my other brothers and sisters who are predominantly part of a black jurisdiction of the moderns and of the international and of the ancient free and accepted and of the Prince Hall and PHA. I'm talking PHO. I'm talking to you. It's time for us to break down these small damn barriers that you keep building up and understand that we are in a terrible situation right now. Yes, some of us are doing better than others. But the majority of us are suffering and hurting and crying. And we're tired of crying. We're tired of hurting. And nobody speaks up and says not one damn thing. People are just tired. And this is what you get. But we must understand, as I said before, there are agitators out there. They come in to agitate, to upset, to cause chaos. And they leave and go back to their communities. Where are all the guns right now? All you gangbangers, disciples, stone disciples, Crips and Vice Lords and Bloods and whatever name of the gang that you're a part of, with all the guns that you are so easily ready to turn on. You turn the guns on somebody that look like you. You know, you have your codes. You can't sell here. When you come to the city, you got to check in. You got your codes. I'm asking, where you at right now? You're probably saying, well, where were you at when they was beating my brothers or my sisters and things like that? You're probably asking the same question. And I get that. I'm not blind to that. What I'm saying right now, what we need to do, in my personal opinion, is not always about protesting. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm saying that you need to start strategizing, taking your political clout, what little we have, taking our economic clout that we do have, and show the force behind it. See, July the 7th is a day that we are supposed to show our economic clout, where we are supposed to say, you know what? I ain't spending no money. I don't know how many gonna get down with it, but I'm down for that. You want to show how powerful you are? Remove your money from the stores in your community that don't look like you. Okay? Remove your money from them stores, from the places that your wives and daughters and sisters and aunties go to get their nails and their hair done. Remove your money from there. You see how powerful you are. Some of us don't understand economic wealth and in the power that it wields. You got to start thinking like that. You want something to happen in your community? Put some money behind it and see how quick it happens. See how quick it happens. Everybody in this country has enjoyed the civil rights movement. And I'm going to prove it to you. For my LBGTHE, whatever you want to call it, community, when something happens, you use part of Dr. King's speeches. You want to use the civil rights movement to push your movement. That's number one. Number two is whenever anything happens, they want us to be part of their movement. They want us to come out, and we need you to come out. But when it happens to us, where are you at? I'm not talking about the looting part, because there are white people that are looting. There are Mexicans that are looting. There are Filipinos that are looting. And we got pictures of them looting. But the narrative that they're showing you on television is you. You looting. The looters look like me. That's what they're showing. But I'm quite sure you've seen it for yourselves. And you're still wondering, how does masonry play a part? You're still wondering who's going to speak out. Well, I can only say in this jurisdiction, where I'm at right now, this jurisdiction, we're not afraid to speak out on issues that face the very community that our membership live in. Because that could have been one of my members. So he wrote a bad check, or he was trying to get a $20 phony dollar bill, whatever he was trying to do. He didn't have no damn gun. But you killed him. Why not just arrest him, take him to jail, charge him? You did that with the guy who killed the 8 people in North Carolina in the church. You just arrested him. You didn't pull no guns on him. You just pulled him. You just open your car door. He walks out. You gradually puts his hands behind his back. You put him in the police car. You stopped by Burger King, got his ass a burger, and then you drove him on to the jail. That's a murderer. That's somebody that killed somebody. And then here's a guy, $20 damn count of $10, whatever the bill was. This guy was trying to get this bill. I don't know. Did he want to eat? Buying cigarettes? I don't know. But it's a $20 bill. And he loses his life. And you hear him pleading for his life. And he says, mama. Anytime a black man called mama, that's some serious shit. He ain't called daddy. He called mama. He dies on the same day as his mother. And this white cop has his knee on his neck and he's rocking it. It's just not placed on his neck. Look at the video. He's rocking that knee into his neck. He's applying pressure as he rocks it. But you sitting in your seat, Grandmasters. I don't care what jurisdiction you are in. Grandmasters, you sitting down on your ass. You ain't saying nothing to your members. Oh, but we're not supposed to be talking about politics. Well, you have elections in your Grand Lodge every year, every 2 years. That's politics, right? Elections is politics. You have people pumping for office. Hey, man, I need that vote. That's politics, am I right? Saying, isn't that the American way? Oh, big shout out to you. I appreciate Rashim's son. I appreciate you. Light Traveler, man. Hey, bro, I love you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm just saying. And by the way, there's a brother that has a podcast. I can't think of his name right now, but he has a podcast. You need to check out his podcast. He's a Masonic brother. His podcast is off the chain. He talks about everything. And to those who have made a donation, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate Brother Larry Diamond putting that in. We really thank you for your contribution. So someone asks, where does the contribution go that you make? Well, let me tell you where your contribution goes. You see those pictures that I take and I tell you about? I'm My Brother's Keeper. It's an organization, LLC, that helps to organize donations to the community, help feed the community during this COVID, this lockdown per se. That's where it goes. We take that and we say, hey man, look, here's $100. This is what I got from the channel. Here's another. Whatever we get, you know what? We just give it to them because it goes to help people who are in dire stray right now. It goes towards their program so people can have something and say, well, damn, thank you. I appreciate that, brother. That's where it goes. All right? Every Tuesday, after 3, every Tuesday, I go and with some of the sisters from my chapters, some of the brothers will meet. We'll go. We'll help distribute the food. As of lately, just so to give you an update, every Tuesday, Every Tuesday, we do about 500 cars and about 100 to 200 walk-ups every Tuesday. Then we take the leftovers that we have and we go to another part of town, okay, on Wednesdays. So on Wednesday, I'm not able to participate, but on Tuesdays, I am. So that's what happens to the gifts and your offerings that you do, the donation that you give right now. That's where they go. Plain and simple. That's what we do. This ain't about me. This is something bigger than I am. And it's time for us to just stand up. Just stand up. I'm not saying go get a gun and kill someone. I'm saying just stand up. Enough is enough. Okay? George Floyd didn't deserve to die that way. Freddie Gray didn't deserve to die that way. These murders are happening too quick. The brother that was jogging in Georgia, he didn't deserve to die that way. And why do you think they arrested them boys finally? I'm going to tell you my opinion on why they arrested them as they did. Wait a minute. Erica, what's up, Erica? I appreciate you. Hey, it's good to hear from you, by the way. Thank you so much. It's really good to hear from you. I really appreciate you. Let's make sure we stay in touch a little bit more, okay? Thank you. Now, check this out. So, they arrested those boys in Georgia to protect them. Simple as that. They arrested them to protect them. You think they're in jail in some cage or another? Talking about it's time for lunch? What's your number on the back of your shirt? No. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they're in jail for protection. Simple as that. And do you know that the President of the United States, you remember that black militant group that went there with their guns? Now they're listed as a terrorist group. Can you believe that? They are now listed as a terrorist group. The Ku Klux Klan isn't listed as a terrorist group. And to be and a hate crime just came about. Greetings. How you doing?
Hey, Brother Tony, how you doing?
I'm all right, bro. Come on, talk to me if you can, or did you call to come on the show?
Yes, I was listening to what you were saying about the community, the agitators are kind of coming into the suburbs and stuff. And they out here where I'm at. They just burned down Burlington Coal Factory store in Madison, Illinois. All the Walmart stores is shut down, and further south, they trying to, they about to close the gas stations, stores and stuff, and it's a damn shame that, our own people is tearing up these establishments, and it's making us look real bad.
Well, I'm not saying that none of us is out there. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that people are coming from outside of your community, coming inside of your community, setting shit on fire. Okay? They're doing that, and then they're going back to wherever they live. Right. Oh, I'm going to go off. My show is going to click off for some reason, man. Let me see if I can log back on.
Right, all of them was kind
of... And the mere fact of what's actually taking place in his community where he's at, he's saying that, yes, there's some looting, there's some things going on, but there are people who are coming from the outside of his community causing these troubles. Now, if I spoke out of term, he needs to let me know. Am I?
No,
okay.
No, this is actually true. A lot of people from the city of Chicago is coming out of the suburbs, start tearing up stuff in the suburbs, and the suburb police is not having that. They telling them take that shit back to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they catch them, they gonna lock them up.
Right.
They not all about that bullshit.
No, not at all. And we really need to understand that. We really need to understand that. We really need to be able to get a hold to that and see what's actually taking place. Because there's a lot happening. Trust me, there's a lot happening, and we need to understand how is this affecting us as a people with the agitators that come in and really cause troubles in our community. And this is what they're doing.
Cause it's like, people cars, just looting stores and burning down buildings and stuff. And my brother, he's a truck driver. He's in New York right now on the road. They on both trailers and try to make him stop and stuff. And he had to do what he had to do.
Well, I don't blame him.
A person.
Look, I understand the protesting. I got that. But when the protesters get out of hand to where they want to destroy shit, I mean, and like I said, a lot of these protesters are not a part of the community that they're tearing up. They're coming from the outside to do it. That's my personal belief from what I'm actually seeing here in San Diego and in surrounding areas. It is just what I'm seeing. And then there are even police officers that we all know who become agitators and do things to agitate the crowd as they're going along a peaceful protest. Like, take for instance, this New York police officer, I think it was either today or yesterday, drove his car into a crowd of people. I mean, his motherfucker just drove his car into him. These are agitators. He should be brought up on murder charges if anybody dies.
He should be brought up for manslaughter.
Hey, bro, look, I'm about to cut off. I don't know what's happening. I had to go and check some internet situations out. And what I found is that there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people right now on the internet. I mean, I kept wondering why and how was I getting kicked off, and coming to find out there's a lot of people on the internet right now and doing live streaming. And so therefore it's like almost like an overload. I'm back for a little bit just to continue the conversation in regards to George Floyd, his murder, and just talk about real things that are happening in the black community. And as leaders, I see black Masons. I see Masons as leaders in their community when they are involved. I'm not talking about the ones who like to go and hang out.
I'm saying some too, and I have a lot of respect for them that's doing something constructive within their neighborhood.
Hey, look, I'm going to go ahead and log off. I don't know why my videos keep cutting off. I know that there's an overload on the internet. I got that part, but man, it just keep cutting off. And so, look, I'm not going to hold you long. I appreciate everybody for coming on and staying with me as we get through this epidemic, as we get through these times, these violent times that we're living in. I'm telling you, this is reminiscent of the 60s. It's like we reliving it all. And for those of you who grew up in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, maybe you didn't get the opportunity to see this. And no, I'll take that back. You saw some of this in the different riotings, as far as with the Rodney King and other riots. But this is different. This is different. I'm saying, brothers and sisters, wherever you at, whatever your jurisdiction may be, please be safe. Just be safe, all right? It's okay to protest. It's really okay. But July the 7th, hold your dollars. If it's not with a black business, hold your dollars. Don't spend your money July the 7th. Please hold your dollars. So I'm just telling you, you have to be safe. You have to be careful. For those Masons and Eastern Stars out there, it's time for us to galvanize. It's time for us to come together. Like myself and Grandmaster Raymond Edwards was talking about. We was talking about an alliance. It's time to have those talks. It's time for us to have communication amongst us and stop allowing someone else to interfere with us. Whenever we get ready to do something, why they got to come along? Whenever we're at the table, why they got to be at the table? We can negotiate. We can come together. We can build. We can do whatever we want to if we decide to do it. And for those scared ass grandmasters out there, I don't care what jurisdiction you're in. I'm talking to you who sit idly by and say nothing to your jurisdiction about how to galvanize and to be involved. But you sit on the sideline, you study collecting their dues because you want a free hotel some damn where. It's time for you to be unelected and put someone in that position that's going to be there and really understand what's happening in the community. Because our membership is out there protesting. Our members comes from those protesters. They look like you and I. I'm speaking specifically to PHO, PHA, John G. Jones, International, Modern Free. I'm talking specifically to you. Your Grand Lodges are predominantly black. So I'm talking to you. So until next time, hold your dollars. July the 7th. Don't spend them unless you're spending them with a black-owned business. Period. Until then, peace. Whatever you do, stay out the bushes. Keep your light on. Be cautious. Be aware. Just be alert where you're at. I love you. God showing us love you. Until we see each other again, until we speak. Peace and be well. I'm out.